What does it take to get six-pack abs? You're going to dive straight into a workout you can do for abs every single day. But unfortunately, you can do this ab workout 14 million times. As many times as you like. You can do it 5 times a day for the rest of your life. You will not have a visible six-pack if your body fat is not low enough. At the moment, I'm about 15% body fat. As you can see, I do not have a shredded, lean, highly visible six-pack. I've got a little bit of definition here, but that's not what's going to get me to those lean, visible abs that you're going to see me have here at some point for my photo shoots, where I'm around 7 to 8% body fat. So the best exercise that you can do daily in order to get abs and get a six-pack is controlling your diet. That is the first, most effective thing that you can do in order to get abs. Your abs are made in the kitchen. There's some theory to that. You cannot out-train a bad diet, but let's get into exercise number 1. We're going to start this workout off by targeting the lower abs. These tend to be the most challenging to develop. Why? Because they tend to be underneath the most amount of fat. Again, as males and females also, we will store the vast majority of our body fat on our core and around our stomach and our lower back. So that's why a six-pack is so sought after. So starting off here with the leg raise, couple of things to think about. I've got my hands supporting my lower back here. This just gives it a little bit of additional support. Now, if you cannot fully straighten your legs and do this exercise, just do it with your knees. The key here is that you need to get your hips up off the floor. You need to get your spine to round. That's what's going to shorten your abs, which is essentially that crunching motion. Abs are like any other muscle. They need to be trained, they need to be exercised, and they need to be improved and progressed. In order to do this, you need to contract your abs and lengthen your abs. If you're doing a bicep, for example, this is my contraction of a bicep, this is my lengthening of a bicep. That's a bicep curl. You have to do the same with your abdominals. So again, perfect exercise here to get started. The second exercise we're going to be using here is the bicycle crunch. Now this is actually deemed as one of the most effective exercises for developing your abdominals. There's a couple that didn't study when you looked at these, but this is up there with the most effective. Now this is going to help target more the obliques as well. So you'll see there's a rotation to the movement. You can do a Russian twister, you can do a bicycle crunch. Both are going to work. This is my preferred exercise. It is challenging, but that's what we're here to do. We're not here to do a fucking easy workout. We're not going to grow, improve and progress by doing easy workouts. So, a couple of key things to think about here. I'm starting on my left side with my left knee and my right hand, and I'm going opposite to opposite. Slow and controlled, and the key here is really to exhale as much as possible when you're contracting your abs. You want to think about blowing as much oxygen out as you possibly can from your core, and this will allow you to get your abs as short as possible, get the maximum contraction and get the most out of the movement, and essentially develop a six-pack. Now again, this is something I would advise doing when you're trying to build muscle, gain weight, and essentially increase size, because like anything else, abs have to hypertrophy. They have to grow, they have to get stronger. Moving on to the next exercise. Next up is going to be a plank. This is going to help with overall stability and just developing that core strength as well. Again, it's going to be key for improvement in all areas in terms of your squats, your bench, your deadlift. If you can be more stable through your core, you're going to be stronger, you're going to build more muscle, you're going to lose more fat, you're ultimately going to get in better shape. So building some stability in to help with that transverse abdominis, which is the layer of muscle underneath your abdominals. That's really going to help improve these. Now, again, a couple of key things to think about here. As I'm leaning on my elbows, I'm sucking my belly button in towards my back. Think about that as a cue. And I'm really tightening my core, trying to keep my hips in line with my shoulders. So think about trying to be as flat as humanly possible. If anything, I'm actually going to contract my glutes a little and pull them up. So rather than letting them fall down, that's going to put pressure in your lower back. So you really want to take the load on your abdominals and not just let it fall into an arched lower back. Moving into the final exercise here. And it's going to be just a basic ab crunch or a sit-up, whatever you want to call it. This is again going to target more the upper side. More the upper abdominals. You can't really isolate any one. They all work in tandem when you are performing any sort of ab exercise, but you can emphasize. So you'll see here that I went lower to obliques to stabilizing to top. This tends to be the order that most people are weakest in. lower abdominals tend to be the weakest, then obliques, then stability, and then upper. We tend to get the most contraction from upper from doing squats, deadlifts, all that other sort of stuff as well. So again, training in this order will allow you to improve weakest to strongest, generally. I'm speaking very generally here, but again, a couple of things to think about. I'm not creating momentum with my hands. I'm not throwing my hands up like this or trying to create loads of momentum. All that's going to do is take the pressure off where I want to really work, which is the abs, of course. So again, really focus on being slow and controlled here, breathing out as you're doing it and pressing out. How often can you do these workouts? You can do them every day if you like. The abs are a muscle that can be trained relatively frequently. They can take a bit of a beating. What are my recommendations? My recommendations are probably somewhere in the region of 2 to 3 times per week. Pair that on top of all the compound movements essentially that you should be doing, maybe 3 to 4 days per week as well, and you're going to put yourself in a fantastic position to develop a great set of abs. But again, you have to get lean enough. And speaking of getting lean enough, the next video here is going to show you how to prep some meals. Some tasty, incredible, healthy meals. That's what you need in order to get absolutely shredded and get those abs and the six-pack on show. So go and watch that video. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe for more, and see you all in the next one.